It only took a single decision, a single bullet, or a single overlooked cage, and suddenly, an entire species blinked out forever. Each of these final photos captures the moment just before a unique animal vanished from our planet. Not a legend, but a record of how quickly life can be erased. But what truly happened in their last moments, and could we have stopped it? A single ripple on the Yangtze once signaled the presence of the baiji, a freshwater dolphin revered as a river spirit in China. In the late 20th century, that ripple faded. Industrial factories lined the riverbanks and released chemical waste into the current. Cargo ships multiplied. Their engines and propellers turned the water into a hazard zone. By the 1990s, local fishermen who once spotted baiji daily reported only rare glimpses. In 2002, a blurry video recorded near Tongling captured what experts believe was the last living baiji. 4 years later, a team of scientists from the Chinese Academy of Sciences and international partners spent 6 weeks searching 1,700 kilometers of river. They found nothing. The baiji, once numbering in the thousands, was declared functionally extinct, a victim of pollution, ship strikes, and fishing gear. No body was ever recovered. Only that fleeting image remains. In the forests of Java, rangers in Meru Betiri National Park tracked the last traces of the island's tiger. By the 1970s, the Javan tiger had retreated to a handful of remote valleys. Coffee and rubber plantations pressed in from every side, shrinking the jungle to isolated fragments. Poachers set traps for skins and bones, while villagers hunted the tiger's prey for food. Ranger logs from the late 1970s record the final confirmed footprints and scat. No photographs, no carcass. After that, the forest fell silent. Official surveys in the 1980s and the 1990s turned up nothing. Today, only rumors and unverified sightings linger, but the IUCN lists the Javan tiger as extinct. The last evidence sits in a faded notebook, a record of a species erased by deforestation and hunting. Across the world, in the American South, the fate of the ivory-billed woodpecker was sealed not by bullets, but by economics. In 1939, ornithologist James Tanner photographed a female clinging to a cypress in the Singer Tract, Louisiana, the last clear image of the species. The Singer Tract's ancient forests were owned by the Chicago Mill and Lumber Company, which faced mounting pressure from conservationists to preserve the bird's habitat. Company executives weighed the pleas against timber profits and chose to proceed with logging. By the mid-1940s, the old-growth forest was gone. The last accepted sighting in the United States came in 1944. Later claims remain unproven. The ivory-billed woodpecker's disappearance is traced not to a single moment, but to a series of decisions, each one narrowing the space where the bird could survive. 3 species, 3 endings within living memory. Each story is inscribed in a photo, a field log or a company ledger, a record not of ancient history, but of how quickly the world can change when rivers, forests, and corporate priorities collide. On a wind-scoured rock off the coast of Iceland, 3 men climbed ashore with a single purpose. On June 3, 1844, Ketil Ketilsson, Sigurdur Islifsson, and John Branson found the last known pair of great auks nesting on LD Island. The birds, unable to fly, were caught by hand. In the struggle, the single egg they guarded was crushed against the stone. Both adults were killed, their bodies destined for a collector's cabinet far from the North Atlantic. With that, a species that once filled the northern seas was gone, not by accident, but by commission. Across the deserts and forests of North Africa, the Barbary lion once ruled the Atlas Mountains. For centuries, colonial officers, Local hunters and shepherds hunted them for bounty and prestige. French authorities paid cash for every lion skin, and by the early 20th century, the population had collapsed. During World War II, with resources stretched and livestock threatened, one of the last reliably recorded Barbary lions was shot in the Moroccan Atlas around 1942. The event was logged in government records, but no one marked it as the end of a lineage stretching back to Roman arenas and Berber legends. After that, only rumors and fading paw prints remained in remote valleys. In the turquoise shallows of the Caribbean, the monk seal once hauled out by the dozens on sun-bleached sandbars. For centuries, sailors and fishermen hunted them for oil, meat, and skins. Expeditions in the 19th century recorded mass killings, entire colonies wiped out in a single night. By the time a U.S. research vessel visited Serenilla Bank in 1952, only a small group of seals remained, basking quietly on the sand. That sighting is the last confirmed record. Later surveys found only empty rocks and silent water. The Caribbean monk seal was declared extinct in 2008, a victim of relentless hunting and a vanishing food supply. Islands and deserts, once rich with life, were emptied by the steady hand of human demand. The last photos and records from these places are not relics of ancient history, but evidence of how quickly a species can vanish when its value is measured in trophies, oil, or skin. In the heart of Amsterdam, a zebra with a half-remembered pattern stood in a zoo paddock, her stripes fading to brown along her flanks. This was the last known quagga, a mare whose image survives in a photograph taken at Artis Zoo in the 1870s. The photo, attributed to a local studio, shows a quiet animal, unaware she was the end of her kind. Dutch and German traders had shipped quaggas from the Cape Colony to European zoos for decades, treating them as curiosities for public display. Artis Zoo's registers record her death on August 12, 1883. No other quagga appears in any ledger after that date. The wild herds had already vanished from South Africa's grasslands, hunted for meat and hides, their numbers erased by colonial expansion and livestock competition. The final captive quagga died not in the wilds of the Karoo, but behind iron bars, her passing noted in a registrar's neat handwriting. A century later, in the Monteverde cloud forest of Costa Rica, scientists watched as a different kind of disappearance unfolded. In 1987, field notebooks logged hundreds of golden toads gathering at rain-filled pools. The following year, only a handful appeared. By 1989, exhaustive searches turned up nothing. Detailed rainfall records from Monteverde show an unusual dry spell, while herpetologists discovered evidence of a deadly chytrid fungus spreading through the region. The golden toad became a symbol of a new kind of extinction, one driven not by hunters, but by the synergy of climate shifts and emerging disease. Field notes and climate charts from those final years now serve as a memorial for a species lost within the boundaries of a protected forest, a casualty of forces invisible to the naked eye. In a small cage at the Cincinnati Zoo, a single passenger pigeon outlived a species that once filled the skies. Martha, hatched around 1885, spent her last years alone. By 1914, keepers knew she was the end, no mate, no hope. On September 1st, staff found her lifeless on the cage floor. She was nearly 30, her feathers dulled, her enclosure bare. The zoo's records note her death, and within hours her body was packed in ice and shipped to the Smithsonian. There, Martha remains preserved as a warning, an emblem of what happens when abundance is mistaken for security. The billions that once darkened North America's skies were erased by market hunting and deforestation, leaving only a solitary bird and a photograph of her final days. Half a world away, in Tasmania, the last thylacine paced a concrete pen at Hobart's Beaumaris Zoo. Known as Benjamin, this animal was filmed and photographed between 1933 and 1936, his striped back and wary eyes now iconic. On the night of September 6, 1936, temperatures dropped below freezing. According to later accounts, the animal was left locked outside its den, exposed to the cold. The next morning, keepers found the thylacine dead. Official logs confirmed the date, but the full story remains tangled in lost records and rumors of neglect. No other thylacine would ever be found alive. The species was declared extinct decades later, but the last night at Beaumaris Zoo stands as a silent indictment, an ending shaped not by a single act, but by years of indifference. In both cases, the final moments were witnessed not by wild companions, but by caretakers and empty cages. Species are vanishing at a rate over 100 times faster than the natural background level. Each lost animal is proof that extinction is not a distant tragedy. It is a present reality shaped by our choices. The next last photo could be taken tomorrow. Which extinction haunts you most?